News Central now this hour begins in Nigeria's capital, where the government has kick-started activities lined up for the nation's 64th anniversary celebration. The Secretary to the federal government, in a company with several cabinet ministers, urged citizens to celebrate the day, saying much has been achieved in the last 64 years. Our correspondent, Amadine Uyi, tells us more.
It was a briefing to kickstart the commencement of Nigeria's 64th independence celebration. In attendance were senior government officials, cabinet members, amongst others.
The 64th independence anniversary calls for a combination of critical actions on our part as citizens and collectively as a nation. These actions include a reflection on our past and a determination to raise the banner of hope, progress, peace, unity, and development.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, while reflecting on the journey so far, urged citizens to celebrate the nation's democratic odyssey.
We must recognize with pride our journey to a stable and broken democratic sovereignty, which has spanned 25 years since 1999.
Other cabinet members present took time to highlight key achievements in their ministries.
In 1960, there were 45 million of them. That was the population of Nigeria. Now we are fivefold. There are 230 million of us. Not surprisingly, demand for government services, infrastructure, financing to fund education, health services, and compete with other nations have grown significantly.
In a landmark move, President Tinubu has taken a decisive step toward implementing local government autonomy by seeking a verdict from the Supreme Court. This action demonstrates his administration's commitment to a deep-rooted restructuring of the country, enhancing governance and development at the grassroots level, and also promoting effectiveness and accountability at local government level.
We are addressing the design of our roads based on the subsoil and the water table. And the funding is also a challenge. But in the ingenuity of Mr. President, he has introduced renewed hope infrastructure funding, where a number of projects are migrated into this funding program.
So what we did and what we've done for the last 10 months has been to develop a program, a curriculum, a new curriculum that will involve, integrate knowledge, skills, trades, and values.
The independence celebration, which comes up on October the 1st, will have the President give a State of the Nation address. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
And to politics, where the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has presented a certificate of return to the winner of the Edo State governorship election, Monday Okpebholo of the All Progressives Congress, APC. The ceremony took place at the INEC headquarters in Abuja on Thursday. INEC declared Okpebholo winner of the Saturday, September 21st election after polling 291,667 votes to beat his closest contender, Asue Ighodalo of the PDP, People's Democratic Party, who polled 247,274 votes. Olumide Akpata of the Labour Party, LP, came a distant third in the race with 22,763 votes. 14 other candidates contested the seat but got less than the 3 frontline candidates.
Now we have to thank INEC for conducting a free and fair election. And we are so happy that we have collected the certificate of return now.
A new dawn in Edo. We now have a humble, gentle, but focused, practical guy who will translate the dreams of Edo to reality. I'm just excited and vindicated, and I'm happy that Abuja is our governor-elect, and by the grace of God, a new Edo obviously is going to rise immediately is sworn in. So I'm so happy and excited. Joining forces with those that we have always contended with in all elections, obviously it was easy for us to just have the street right, and that is what you saw. Now we are all united now in Edo North and in Isako West, and that's.
In the meantime, members of the PDP in Edo State under the aegis of Asue Ighodalo Mandate Recovery Group have demanded the declaration of Asue Ighodalo and Osarodion Oge as the governor and deputy governor-elect of Edo State. This was among some demands of the protesting members of the party who protested to demand the recomputing of results of last Saturday's election declared by INEC in favor of the APC.
Democracy is a government by the people and for the people. We are asking, we have three demands. Number one, this INEC resident officer should be fired with automatic effect and with immediate effect and automatic alacrity. Those in support say, ah! And the ayes have it. INEC, by INEC guideline, have 7 days before to review results before they declare. So what is the hurry? You have 7 days to review complaint before you. So we are saying with immediate effect that the announcement declaring APC as a winner should be withdrawn with immediate effect. Those in support say, ah! And finally, the true winner of this election, 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 Dr. Asue Ighodalo or Saturday Oge of the People's Democratic Party should be declared governor and governor-elect of the over 5 million people of Edo State. Those in support say, ah! The ayes have it.
The All Progressives Grand Alliance (APGA) National Working Committee has suspended allies of Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo over alleged anti-party activities. The suspension was announced during a briefing by the APGA National Chairman, Chief Edozie Njoko, to journalists in Abuja on Thursday. He outlined the party's decision to address various infractions and instances of indiscipline within the organization. According to Njoko, this action stems from their alleged involvement in illegal primary elections and congresses in Anambra State, contrary to the party's constitution. Transparency organizations in Nigeria say there is a need for the urgent constitution of an Electoral Offences Commission to adjudicate on electoral offences that have characterized the nation's voting process. They say this will stem the tide of irregularities and future occurrences of electoral malpractices and other related offences. The civil society organizations made this call at the presentation of the Citizens' Memorandum for Reform of Electoral Legal Framework in Nigeria's capital in Abuja. Our correspondent Joshua Imarai has details.
Part of the proposal of civil society is that an Electoral Offences Commission, National Electoral Offences Commission should be put in place. And we're all aware, that this has been in the pipeline, but somehow we don't know why the political class, hasn't moved it very fast. We heard that it will go a long way in dealing with the impunity that we see in the electoral process.
Judges who are appointed to adjudicate on election cases, they need to be trained, they need to be judges of impeccable character, and where you have judicial officers who deviate, from the norm, there has to be some level of sanctions.
Among other reforms, they called on lawmakers to establish a law backing the use of technology in elections.
The reforms emphasize the need for a robust legal backing for the use of technology in elections, such as mandatory electronic transmission of election results. By doing so, the electoral process will become faster, more accurate, and less susceptible to tampering.
They also expressed worry at the lack of inclusion for persons with disabilities in the just completed Edo State governorship poll.
The issue of inclusivity, which is within my constituency, had very little presence, and I hope that the rec in Ondo will learn from the mistakes of the rec in Edo State.
Stakeholders at the engagement say the proposed electoral reforms will restore integrity, enhance efficiency, and ensure inclusivity in Nigeria's electoral process. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Iwarai.
Away from politics, Nigeria's food security may be under threat as recent flooding in Maiduguri devastated more than 70,000 hectares of farmland, leaving many farmers struggling to recover. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization say the flooding submerged crops just weeks before harvest, prompting concerns about food shortages in the nation already facing agricultural challenges. Our correspondent Joshua Imarai, who toured some farmlands in Jere and Maiduguri, now reports.
More than 50,000 hectares of Jere water rice bowl up to Koshebe towards Mafa town have been submerged. The recent flooding in Maiduguri and some parts of Jere has not only destroyed crops, but also devastated the livelihoods of local farmers.
Yanzu wanda aka samu aka dan cicire ma kwata-kwata bai nuna ba. Yanzu kaga hinan duk ya fadi duk ruwa ya zo ya shanye. Mutane yanzu bana sai dai abin da Allah ya abinci kan babu.
Bare jerede shi ma anda zakse bana baro monjin bawo. Kunda ari bana la jana rote la so awla so fondera wolo ma. Bana jerede fondera ma buye yayen.
The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization reports that thousands of acres of rice, millet, as well as animals like goats, sheep and fish, among others, have been lost, exacerbating the threat to food security in Nigeria.
If government will take measures in future, it will be very good and it's going to help the economy of our people to come back better.
The fear now is that of rising prices and scarcity, which could lead to increased hunger in vulnerable communities.
God has tested us and then we have taken it, but we need an intervention, particularly to make our people to partake in the dry season farming. So I'm calling on federal government, maybe through the Ministry of Food Security, to come up with a program that they will get the real data of what actually the water has caused, so that government will quickly plan for immediate intervention and so also for long term.
Approximately 5 million people across Borno, Adamawa and Yobe states are said to be at risk of acute food insecurity, according to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, from mid-September to October 2024.
More than 70,000 hectares of rice farms have been submerged here, and the farmers continue to count on their losses, hoping for support from the government and other well-meaning individuals to alleviate their hardships and address the issue of threat to food security. In Jere for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Women farmers in Nigeria have expressed worry over the delay in delivery of fertilizers to farmers in the country. They say this is affecting their farming and continues to aggravate food insecurity in the country. And this was made known during a national dialogue on the 4th Biennial Report Review on the Comprehensive Agriculture Result Framework of the African Union's Commission Africa Agriculture Development Program. Our correspondent Emmanuel Bugudu tells us more.
It is no longer news that the report say Nigeria is among countries with the most food insecure citizens in the world. Stakeholders say on a scale of 0 to 10, Nigeria scored 3.4, which is adjudged not to be on track in the implementation of the Malabo Declaration on Agricultural Transformation in Africa. This event, an initiative of Action Aid Nigeria and Nigeria's Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, is expected to profile solutions to this shortcoming and find ways of making Nigeria a food-secured nation.
This is the report of the 4th Biennial Review that was signed off by the African Union governments earlier in the year. So we are having this dialogue to reflect as a country in terms of the progress we have made in terms of the agriculture sector, looking at the CADIP result framework and the gaps and what we need to do going forward in terms of looking at the recommendations coming from the report.
The women farmers present here provided a first-hand information on the causes of food insecurity in the country.
Let the fertilizer come in time, because agric is a seasonal something. We start our planting. If rain come early, it will be like April, May. Then, if you want a farmer to harvest or to get something, you have to plan for the farmer in time. At least by January, February, March, they have finished everything. Then release the funds so that every agencies will carry the activities so that we farmers will benefit.
Is government really taking agric as seriously as they speak about it? Releases in agricultural sector, like budget releases, is very poor. We got fertilizer just a month ago when the planting season is over. So I don't know how farmers are able to use that to perform magic. And we're saying there is no food, there is inflation in the country and all of that. So government really needs to be serious. And not only government this time around, we're also calling on other partners to make sure that they take investment in agriculture seriously.
The Biennial Review presents a comprehensive Africa Agriculture Result Framework to the African Union Commission. In Abuja for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
Thank you for staying with us. And now to crime news, where 5 individuals involved in the Offa robbery incident have been found guilty of illegal possession of firearms, armed robbery, and culpable homicide. Justice Halima Salman of the Kwara State High Court stated that the offenses are punishable by death. The incident, which occurred at 5 banks in Offa local government area in 2018, left no fewer than 32 people dead, including 9 police officers, 2 of whom were women. The convicted individuals include Ayuade Akiniboson, Aziz Salahuddin, Niyi Ogundiran, Ibikunle Ogunleye, and Adebola Abraham. The 6th suspect, Michael Adeko, a retired police officer, died in custody before the trial commenced. Let's also tell you that Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, says the federal government will toll all major roads in the country upon completion of construction and renovation. He listed some of the roads as Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, 2nd Niger Bridge, Abuja-Kano Road, and Makurdi 9th Mile, among others. The former Ebonyi State governor said the tolling of the federal roads is going to bring a lot of money to the federal government. Umahi said private sector members have been engaged to bring in funds, construct the roads, work with the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission and the Ministry of Works to toll the roads. Nigeria's National Oil Spill Detection Response Agency has expressed its willingness to collaborate with all relevant stakeholders to ensure effective monitoring of oil spills in the Niger Delta region in a bid to support the nation's climate change action plan. The executive director of the agency made this known as he received a delegation from the Stakeholder Democracy Network in the nation's capital, Abuja, where they informed him of a tool developed to help manage emissions and sought the support of the agency for its adoption.
There are some solutions emerging, particularly using satellite-based technology to identify hotspots where methane is emerging, and which enable regulators like NOSDRA and other agencies to then cooperate with oil and gas companies and others to help respond to that emissions, fix the problem, and reduce the impact on the environment. So we are currently building a prototype satellite-based methane tracker in close partnership with NOSDRA, which we hope will be a step in that direction. We've completed phase 1, and we're very much looking forward to mobilizing resources and then delivering a phase 2 and making sure we build a tool which is helpful.
So far, they've been good partners to NOSRA before this time, and I did mention a few of other tools that we have already developed jointly, and we believe that continuous relationship with them will go a long way in delivering our mandate in line with Mr. President's Renewed Hope agenda. And so for us, we are open to other NGOs and other organizations that are willing to partner with us.
Tree planting exercises are identified by environmentalists as a climate change adaptation strategy for sustainable development in Nigeria. The climate change activists, however, urged many Nigerians to participate in several tree planting initiatives, both at the national and sub-national level, particularly within communities. News Centro's Omolola Ololade has details.
Nigeria, with its diverse ecosystems ranging from tropical rainforest to arid savannas, faces significant environmental challenges, including deforestation, desertification, and loss of biodiversity. However, tree planting has been recognized worldwide to combat deforestation and promote reforestation. In Nigeria, especially in Lagos urban city, there have been various tree planting exercises aimed at restoring degraded lands, enhancing biodiversity, and supporting livelihoods.
The Lagos State agency responsible with the last park, they are doing their best, but it's not enough. It's not enough. We can do more, especially for a city that has at least 21 million people. So we must have equivalent green spaces to be able to take care of this number of people. And I'm aware that there's a law in Lagos that said at least 25% of every land should be green. How much that law is being implemented begs the question, and that is why also real estate development guys needs to look at it and see how they also can contribute.
When you look at kind of the pace of growth, especially with a place like Lagos, it means a lot of developments have eroded our trees and the environment. So it was important to send the right signal. And we also think it's something that individually our team members and employees can continue to do on their own. So it's to just encourage people to care about it and to think about it, be mindful, even in the choices that they make to sometimes destroy or cut down trees.
While NGOs and local communities play a crucial role in tree planting efforts, community efforts, particularly from individuals, are vital to ensure the sustainability of tree planting projects. This will in turn foster a sense of ownership and responsibility among local populations.
Personally, I think tree planting is something that I'm involved in, not just with my company, but as an individual, because it's very important for sustainability. So, yeah, for the earth to be better, for us to sustain nature, tree planting is very important.
The tree planting exercise is really important to me because of the amount of carbon emission I also release into the environment daily. On a daily basis, I bought buses, I switch on my generator and all of that. So this is a way of replenishing my environment.
The role of planting trees in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized, according to environmentalists, as it remains one of Nigeria's climate action strategies in mitigating the adverse effects of climate change while addressing environmental degradation. In Lagos for News Central, Omolola Ololade.
In the meantime, climate change experts have called for increased investment in climate adaptation measures that will empower children with the tools needed to drive change and protect them from the effects of climate change. And this was during a child-led conference of the party stimulation exercise by international humanitarian organization Save the Children in Abuja, the nation's capital. Our correspondent Edong Joseph tells us more.
The recent floods seen in some states of the country are examples of change in rain patterns, and the extreme heat conditions across the country are evidence of climate change and its impact on Nigeria. Unfortunately, vulnerable populations like children are mostly affected, despite contributing the least to climate change.
Many children are forced to leave home, get married, and work as a result. Flooding is ruining schools and learning opportunities and hurting children's health through waterborne diseases.
In a bid to empower the next generation of leaders who will be able to make changes, Save the Children has launched an initiative that will amplify the voices of young people in the country.
Today's conference of party stimulation, also known as COP29 simulation, is the testament of that commitment. It is a platform where children can engage in the same complex discussions that take place at international climate negotiations.
It is a powerful platform for expressing your thoughts, advocating for your communities, and designing innovative and creative solutions to create a low-carbon world for you and generations yet unborn.
Advocates say that if children are allowed to engage with the country for COP29, they will influence policies and actions that will affect their lives. They call for the commitment of world leaders as the day for the 2024 Conference of the Parties draw closer.
Our expectations are clear. We want to see decisive actions to limit global temperature rises, reduce emissions, and increase investments in climate adaptation measures, particularly those aimed at protecting the most vulnerable, who are the children.
Climate change awareness initiatives for children, advocates say, are crucial towards mitigating the impact of climate change and promoting sustainable developments. In Abuja for News Central, I am Edong Joseph.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Transcorp Hotels in Abuja, Okpebholo, has launched the Next Generation Foundation, an initiative aimed at supporting the education of underserved and vulnerable children. The Chief Executive, while marking her 50th birthday celebration in Abuja, says the initiative is part of a lifelong commitment to empowering others and utilizing the transformative power of education. She adds that while education changes lives, it opens doors to a fulfilled future with opportunities for children who have been left behind. Odutola revealed that the foundation will be commencing its 50 by 50 project, a multi-year scholarship program starting in the 2024-25 academic session for 50 children between the ages of 6 to 18 from low-income families. And now two stories from the ongoing 79th United Nations General Assembly, where Kenyan President William Ruto says some nations are increasingly choosing unilateralism and militarization over dialogue and diplomacy. The theme, them versus us mentality, has escalated tensions and eroded trust in the global multilateral system. He said this on Thursday at the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA. According to Ruto, Sophisticated cyber attacks on critical infrastructure and climate change are increasingly fueling instability and conflicts around the world.
Pervade every frontier, undermining the collective security that international cooperation seeks to uphold. Cases of polarizing narratives, factionalism, social upheavals, organized crime, war, and stockpiling of weapons of mass destruction are at an all-time high. Great power rivalry is intensifying, provoking regional competition and inducing geopolitical and geoeconomic realignments and tensions. The subtle nuances of them versus us has produced negative coalitions, wars, tensions, as well as eroded trust and confidence in global multilateral system.
Meanwhile, Sudan's army chief has raised the alarm at the United Nations that months of war in his country could spill over into the region, and he called for international pressure to be placed on the paramilitary forces he is fighting. Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, speaking at the 79th UN General Assembly in New York, called on the international community on Thursday to designate the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, as a terrorist organization and to target its sponsors outside Sudan's borders.
The atrocities committed by these rebels, targeting the Sudanese people and the Sudanese state. The war began with an attempt to seize power through force. With time, it's transformed into a total war against the Sudanese state and the Sudanese people. Countless crimes have been committed: ethnic cleansing, forced displacement, and genocide. All of this has been committed by the Rapid Support Forces, the RSF, which should be considered a terrorist group. This militia is continuing to perpetrate crimes, and it is most unfortunate that it is receiving the support of some states in the region, states which are providing.
Thank you for staying with us. The news continues in West Africa, where Guinea's government dismissed reports on an emergency near the presidential palace in Conakry on Thursday after rumors of gunfire caused panic in the capital. Local media initially reported an evacuation in Kalom district, home to key government buildings. Special forces were reportedly deployed, but the presidency denied any unrest, calling the claims false and fabricated. A statement broadcast on state TV urged citizens to continue with their daily activities. Memories of the 2021 coup, marked by gunfire in the same area, have heightened tensions. Guinea's military leader, under General Mamadi Doumbouya, faced pressure to hold elections by 2024, though they admit delays are likely. Up north, the United Nations says rival administrations in war-torn Libya signed an agreement on Thursday to appoint a new central bank governor, potentially paving the way for the restoration of vital oil production. Now, tensions have escalated since August, forcing current governor Sedek Al-Kabir to flee the country. Under the deal reached in Tripoli, both sides agreed to name a new governor within a week and form a board of directors within 2 weeks. The agreement was signed by representatives from Libya's eastern and western government. Libya has been divided since the 2011 overthrow of Muammar Gaddafi. Oil production, now halved, could be restored following this crucial deal. When I head to East Africa, where thousands of Ethiopians gathered in the capital on Thursday to celebrate an annual religious festival distinguished by the lighting of bonfires, according to the beliefs of the local Orthodox Christian faithful. National celebrations of the festival, known as Meskel, traditionally happen in a square by the same name in Addis Ababa. It is one of Ethiopia's most celebrated religious holidays, marked with rituals and merriments across the country. Festivities will continue until Friday, a national holiday during which the faithful attend church services and share intimate moments with families. In celebration of Mescal, a word in the local Amharic language for cross bonfires are burned across the country.
ሰላም ነው የምታውጀው፣ ሰላም ነው የምትሰብከው። ስለዚህ ስለ መስቀል ስናከብር ሰላም ይዘን ነው እንጂ ጥላልና ክርክር ይዘን አይደለም። መስቀል ላይ ያየነው በቀራንዮ ክርስቶስ ያየነው ምንድነው? ጠላቶቹን እየገደሉት እየቸነከሩት እየወጉት ይቅር በላቸው ነው። ስለዚህ የይቅርታ የሰላም የፍቅር የአንድነት እንዲያደርግልን እግዚአብሔር
ክርስቲያን ሁሉ ይህንን የሚሰማ ሁሉ በሀገር ውስጥ በፍቅር በመተሳሰብ መኖር
The economy is a hot button issue in the U.S. election, and both candidates have been campaigning in the key states of Pennsylvania and North Carolina, putting across their vision for a better, richer America. Harris pushed herself as a capitalist, while Trump claimed that foreign entities wanted to assassinate him because of this economic plan. For News Central, Chief International Correspondent Asue Ighodalo has more.
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, seeking to sharpen her economic message, pledged to usher in new investments in domestic manufacturing across a range of industries if elected to the White House in November. In a speech in the must-win state of Pennsylvania, Harris cast herself as the best person for the job of president, with a pragmatic approach to boosting the middle class. In a tactic rebuttal to Republican claims that she supports communist policies, Harris described herself as a capitalist.
The American people face a choice between two fundamentally very different paths for our economy. I intend to chart a new way forward and grow America's middle class. Donald Trump intends to take America backward to the failed policies of the past.
An hour before the speech, her Republican rival Donald Trump touted his own economic agenda, including a 15% Made in America tax proposal, whilst visiting North Carolina. At a campaign event in Mint Hill, Trump defended his tariff proposals and suggested they were the reason people in other countries want to kill me.
Meanwhile, we have the president of Iran in our country this week. We have large security forces guarding him, and yet they're threatening our former president and the leading candidate to become the next president of the United States. Certainly a strange set of circumstances. Around the world, our enemies are desperate to prevent Donald Trump from returning to the White House because they know I will make America great again. They don't want that.
Both candidates are campaigning in battleground states this week on their competing visions for the economy, a key issue that voters say is a top priority in casting a ballot. Though the race remains close, Harris has opened up a narrow lead in national polling since the two candidates met on a debate stage earlier this month. The economy routinely emerges as a top issue for voters this November, and both candidates have touted populist policies, with Harris appearing to mirror a Trump proposal to end taxation on service workers' tips. For News Central, I'm Asue Ighodalo.
And let's join our business team for today's news.
In business, August 2024 saw the average fare for air passengers surge to 123,700 naira 14 kobo, representing a 25.51% increase from 98,560 naira 28 kobo in July. The Nigeria Bureau of Statistics reported a significant year-on-year rise of 56.56% from 79,011 naira 38 kobo in August of the previous year, making air travel more costly for commuters. Conversely, City bus fares dropped to 869.35 kobo, a 7.77% decrease from July, and a 34.95% decline from 1,336 naira 38 kobo in August 2023, likely due to easing inflation. Intercity bus fares slightly increased by 0.59% to 7,159 naira, reflecting a 20.97% annual rise. Motorcycle fares rose to 524 naira 22 kobo, while waterway transport fares increased to 1,449 naira 34 kobo. Overall, rising air and intercity transport costs indicate ongoing inflationary pressures on long-distance travel. And still in West Africa, recent data from the Ghana Statistical Service reveals a significant decline in cocoa bean export value for the second quarter of 2024. Exports dropped from 1.57 billion Ghanaian cedis in the second quarter of 2023 to 1.15 billion Ghanaian cedis in Q2 2024, a 26.9% decrease, marking the fifth consecutive quarterly decline. In Q1 2024, the export value also fell by 24.7% compared to the previous year, with an alarming 80% drop between Q1 and Q2, translating to a 4 billion Ghanaian cedi reduction. This decline is attributed to a challenging production season, with Ghana producing only about 429,323 metric tons by June 2024, less than 55% of previous averages. Additionally, smuggling and low local prices have exacerbated the situation, prompting Cocoa Board to raise the farm gate price by 45% for the upcoming season. And that's a package on business news at this time. Thank you for watching. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter.
And in sports, Austin Eguavon is set to continue as interim Super Eagles coach, while Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois are talking about a rematch. Onyenyechi Obaro shares more.
Hello and welcome. This is Sports News. Defending NPFL champions Enugu Rangers beat host Ikorodu City 1-0 in a rescheduled Matchday 2 encounter played at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena in Lagos. Rangers' winning goal was scored by Chinemere Muguzwe, who hit the target on the 25th minute mark. Speaking after the game, Rangers coach Fidelis Ilechukwu revealed that the win was a morale booster for his team after their elimination from the CAF Champions League over the weekend, and would serve them in good stead in their blockbuster clash away against current league leaders and last season's runners-up Remo Stars this weekend in Ikene. Super Eagles winger and non-star Moses Simon was recognized by French Ligue 1 on Tuesday after reaching a significant career milestone. A key member of the Super Eagles for almost a decade, the 2024 Africa Cup of Nations silver medalist is regarded as one of the most decisive players in the French top division. He reached a milestone of 150 matches in the French Ligue 1 during Nantes' 1-1 draw with Angers SCO at the weekend. The Ligue 1 official X account marked the occasion, celebrating Simon's contributions with a post. In his 150 appearances, the 29-year-old winger has racked up 27 goals and 29 assists. Simon's achievement places him fifth among Nigerian players with the most Ligue 1 appearances, trailing only John Utaka with 239 games, Wilson Oruma with 196 games, Taye Taiwo with 191 games, and Victor Okpebholo with 170 games. Real Madrid forward Kylian Mbappe faces a spell on the sidelines due to a thigh injury. The France international, who joined the Spanish club in the summer after his contract expired with Paris Saint-Germain, scored in a 3-2 win against Deportivo Alaves on Tuesday before being substituted after 80 minutes. In an official statement released earlier today, Real Madrid revealed that, following tests, the 25-year-old has been diagnosed with an injury to the biceps femoris in his left leg and his progress will be monitored. Real Madrid are away in a league match at Atletico Madrid on Sunday and then play Lille in the Champions League and Villarreal in the Spanish top flight prior to the October international break. Mbappe had scored 6 goals in 7 games for the Bernabeu club before sustaining his injury. Naomi Osaka says she is at a stage in life where she does not want to have regrets after hiring Patrick Borotoglu as her new coach. Japan's Osaka beat Italy's Lucia Bronzetti 6-3, 6-2 at the China Open in her first match with Borotoglu, formerly the longtime coach of Serena Williams, in her corner. The 26-year-old splits with Wim Fissette, who she won 2 of her 4 Grand Slam titles with earlier in September. Osaka said she was initially hesitant about working with Borotoglu, but is happy with her decision to partner with the successful Borotoglu. Osaka is next in action against 21st seed Yulia Putniseva in the second round in Beijing. For New Central Television, Okpebholo, Adebari.
And that's all on the news at this hour. Let's take a look again at some of the major stories. African leaders have denounced unilateralism, militarization at United Nations General Assembly. INEC has presented certificate of return to Edo Governor-elect Monday Okpebholo. Court has sentenced 5 to death over offer bank robbery. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Adedugba.